The doctor had come in and he said, dude, I don't know what you've got going on with your bones, but those are the hardest bones that I've ever encountered. There was smoke coming off my drill bit, and I've never seen anything like it. So that told me, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to AMA. I'm your host, Evan Centopani. We opted for a little change of scenery today. It's been brought to my attention that you guys are sick of the blue walls in my dining room, so we're taking it outside. It's a little cold today, hence the jacket. Maybe not the perfect day to do this outside, but here we are. I want you guys to be happy. If you're tired of the walls in my dining room, I will go outside, I will brave the cold to give you guys what you want. So without further ado, let's dive into it. First question, you are no longer competing. How different is your life now in terms of training, eating, gear, overall? I feel like my life is very different, but about a week ago I was at my parents' house. My brother was there. I had my cooler with me, as I always do. And he was like, dude, when are you gonna stop carrying that thing around with you everywhere you go? He's like, you're not competing anymore, right? And I was like, no. He's like, you're not dieting for a show, right? I'm like, no. It's like, so what are you doing? Like, when are you gonna stop eating like that? See you over there eating chicken, cauliflower, broccoli, and an apple. When's that gonna stop? Are you gonna join the rest of us and like eat like a normal person? And it really made me think, I don't think I ever will eat entirely like a normal person. I've spent the last 20 years of my life eating like a bodybuilder, bringing my food wherever I go. I don't know how easy it's gonna be to go back. I don't know if I'll ever go back to eating 3 meals a day. It seems really foreign to me. I feel like I'd get very hungry in between those meals. I feel like I wouldn't really be able to sustain physique, even though I certainly don't have the physique that I used to. I'm not carrying as much muscle as I used to carry. Being a guy who's 260, 265 pounds, I don't know that I could feasibly cram enough nutrition into 3 meals, maybe 4. There's a lot of times right now where I'll have 4 meals a day and it's adequate. You spend a certain amount of time with a certain goal in your mind, that goal being to be as big and as strong as possible, and all of a sudden you don't need to be as big and as strong as possible anymore. You don't really know what to do. But just the same, I will always bodybuild to an extent. I enjoy being strong. I enjoy being muscular. You know, am I ever gonna wake up and eat a bowl of cereal for breakfast and then have a sandwich for lunch and then, you know, have a semi-normal dinner? Probably not. But I will tell you this, as time goes on, I find myself less and less interested in being huge, right? When I was younger, it was like, oh man, I wanna be as massive as humanly possible. I don't feel that way anymore, all right? The lighter I get, the better I feel, within reason. I don't think I want to be 150 pounds. I don't think I ever will be. You're talking to a guy who graduated high school at 225 pounds. My back and my hips and knees hurt so much, I don't think I'm running anywhere anytime soon. But I guess if I lost the weight, maybe my knees, back, and hips would feel better. I don't eat the same quantities I used to. I mean, I used to eat 6 to 7 meals a day, 10 ounces of protein per meal, a lot of carbs, a lot of fat too. I still eat 9 ounces of protein per meal, but I'm looking to trim that down. I don't think I need it. Probably 7 ounces would be enough. I probably feel a little bit better. Just this past week, I bought less chicken, bought about 20% less, because I do plan to step it down a little bit. My training, should I even call it training anymore? It's more like working out at this point. Training, you gotta keep in mind, is pushing the body, to train it, to deal with a stress that it hasn't encountered before, so that you can elicit that adaptive response, AKA get bigger, get stronger. Do I really push myself that hard anymore? I don't think so. I mean, I used to really fucking blow the wheels off when I was training, and I'm honest enough with myself to say, no, I don't do that anymore. Do I still use some decent weight? Sure. But I'm not killing myself like I used to. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They don't realize what training is. And man, you gotta really push it. You gotta really push yourself. And a lot of people say, oh, okay, so-and-so said do 8 to 12 reps. If you can do a straight 8 to 12 reps with whatever weight you're using, you're not training, right? You're just working out. You have to kill yourself for those reps. And really, for good hypertrophy, you need to be up, I think, more like in the 15 to 20 rep range, because 8 to 12, yeah, you'll get stronger, You'll gain size in the beginning, but you're not going to get that size and condition that you would get from pushing heavy weight for high reps, because that's really where it's at. And that becomes really, really challenging. When you start using a weight that if you give it every last thing you have, maybe you could get 12 to 15 straight reps, but then you've got somebody behind you forcing reps, you're doing rest pauses, you're doing negatives. Okay, that's when shit starts happening. That's training. I don't do that anymore. All right, I'm working out now. As for my overall lifestyle, I got other things going on. Bodybuilding used to be my sole focus. I have other professional commitments. I work in the financial planning space now. I've got a lot of clients that I deal with. It's fairly demanding. So most mornings, I'm up early, getting my workout done in 45 minutes, maybe an hour if I'm lucky. Next question, what do we got here? My coach told me to stay away from yogurt, milk, cheese, etc. I noticed that you also shy away from dairy. Why? I thought dairy was a good protein source and good for calcium and strong bones. I can tell you this, the whole strong bones thing, I think I can debunk that right off the rip, because back in 2016 or 17, whichever year it was, when I tore my quad tendon off my kneecap, when the doctor went in there and he had to reattach it, the way they do it is by drilling the kneecap, and they anchor the tendon back to the kneecap. I remember being in recovery after the surgery. I finally had woken up and the doctor had come in and he said, dude, I don't know what you've got going on with your bones, but those are the hardest bones that I've ever encountered. It took me forever. I had such a hard time drilling them. There was smoke coming off my drill bit, and I've never seen anything like it. So that told me, that's 2016. I haven't had any dairy since 2009. Obviously, weight training, any weight-bearing exercises will build bone density. I always make sure that my vitamin D and vitamin K, a lot of times people will supplement with vitamin D, but they will not supplement with vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is what tells calcium where to go. D3 will enhance absorption, but it's the K2 that directs it to the places it should be and away from the places it shouldn't be. Because you want calcium, obviously, in your skeletal system, your bones, your teeth. You do not want it in your cardiovascular system. So you want to get it away from the arteries. So I think between the weight-bearing exercises, supplementing with D3, K2, and also, it's known that anabolics will increase bone density. Dairy, why is your coach telling you to stay away from it? My guess would be, assuming you don't have a direct issue with dairy, probably feels there's better foods to consume. I know that I feel that way. I don't find myself including dairy. I cut out dairy a long time ago. So back when I was prepping for the New York Pro in 2009, the coach that I was working with at the time, Oscar Ardon, was like, dude, get rid of shakes. Let's switch to all whole food. It ended up being a great recommendation. I looked a lot better. I felt better. But I was still looking forward to going back to shakes after the show, right? Shakes are delicious. They're convenient. They're cost effective. They really help to break up the monotony. Eating large amounts of chicken, steak, fish all day long, shit gets really boring. So to have a shake, something that's a little bit sweet, maybe it's chocolatey, that's a nice break. And I was absolutely looking forward to that. However, I found that when I did that, I felt like absolute shit. I tried all different sorts of protein, right? Whey, the finest whey protein isolate. I was using, lactase pills, in conjunction with it. Still felt like absolute hell. I wasn't having diarrhea, stuff like that, but I just felt like ugh. I came to the determination it must have something to do with the dairy proteins themselves, and I just abandoned dairy. Now, if you're somebody who tolerates it well, I think it's fine. That being said, I do think there's better dietary sources of nutrients. Now, a lot of times people say, well, if you look at whey protein, the biological value and so on and so forth. I don't know, man. If you read a lot of that stuff, a lot of that testing is bullshit. Does the whole biological value hold up? I don't know. What I can tell you, though, is I feel way better when I consume chicken, steak, fish, turkey, whole eggs. So that's what I stick to. And the thing that I do prefer about that as well is it's easier to control my macros. Now, what do I mean by that? When you consume dairy, unless you're consuming like whey protein, of course, is very isolated. When you're consuming dairy in a whole food there's gonna be fats accompanying with it, there's gonna be carbohydrates accompanying it, and it makes it harder to tailor fit your food intake. So if I'm constructing a meal now, to give you an idea of what I would consider to be a good meal, right? Maybe a piece of fish, some white rice, some olive oil for the fats. I love white rice as a carbohydrate. It digests well for me. Maybe I put some greens in there as well for some fiber and some, little micronutrient boost. I can control that. I had a client fairly recently comment on, kind of my approach. Now, this was someone I was working with in an off-season capacity. And he commented, this is still fairly strict, and I just don't know that this approach is for me. He named the consumption of vegetables, which I'm big on. He also named the exclusion of artificial sweeteners, which I'm also big on. But somebody, could also point to the fact that I generally shy away from dairy. And someone might say, hey, does it have to be this rigid? Well, no, it doesn't have to be this rigid. You also don't have to train that hard when you go in the gym. But as bodybuilders, we're looking at what is going to yield the most optimal result. At least that's what I'm interested in. Next question. My boyfriend is a longtime fan of yours. His birthday is coming up. What is a good gift for a bodybuilder? Oh, well, happy birthday to your boyfriend. Hopefully you see this in time. I would say that as a bodybuilder, anything to do with the kitchen or food, assuming he's somebody who preps his own food and all that, I guess not all bodybuilders do, or anything that pertains to the body. A lot of bodybuilders, I guess we're pretty vain individuals. If something is going to help our bodybuilding efforts, or if it's going to make us look better, feel better, maybe even smell better, right? It's probably going to be a good gift. My uncle, he's in his mid-50s. He recently got into bodybuilding. Didn't work out for most of his life and just kind of decided the past couple of years he wants to get in shape. A gift I've been eyeing for my uncle, now his birthday's in June, so I'm a couple months away, but I've been eyeing this really, really nice digital scale, meaning bathroom scale. Oh, but you know what? To that point, a good kitchen scale never fails either. So Rubbermaid commercial, so there's a commercial division where they make products for commercial kitchens. Rubbermaid commercial makes a very nice food scale for the kitchen. That's definitely a good gift. But the digital scale for the bathroom, there's a company called Seca, S-E-C-A. They make a lot of scales for the medical world. Very high quality, very precise. This particular scale, now they make a whole bunch of different ones. This particular one I'm looking at, I don't have the model number for you, but it's a couple $100. So definitely not cheap, but should last a lifetime. Would make a really, really nice gift. If you're cooking eggs, you definitely need a non-stick pan, unless you boil your eggs. Really, really good non-stick pan, in my opinion, the Cadillac, the best I've used so far, Vollrath, V-O-L-L-R-A-T-H. They're up to about $70 a pan now, so not cheap, not the most expensive. The coating on these is the best I've had. They hold up very, very well if you don't beat the shit out of them. And a tip for you guys with your non-stick pans, don't be washing them in the sink with soap and, scrub pads and shit. You don't need to. All you need to do is run that thing under water, get a paper towel, a wet paper towel, and wipe it out, and that thing's clean. Anything for the kitchen, anything that appeals to his vanity, anything that's going to help him with his bodybuilding. Oh, another good one, anything for food storage, right? Pyrex makes a lot of great food storage items. In the same vein, a cooler, a good cooler. So that's got to give you some ideas right there. Good luck. Happy birthday to your boyfriend. You guys, thank you for watching AMA. I'll talk to you soon.